Here we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jack Ramsays postgame show. I'm Danny Marang, as always, joined by Brandon Sprague. Portland Trail Blazers win, and dare I say, it is a two-game winning streak. Brandon Sprague, 111-92 Portland Trail Blazers. Almost messed around and made me look like a fool for a split second.
You did look kind of dumb for a quick second.
You almost old takes me, and that was close. I was like,
I had to do that to you, man. I thought that was fun.
No, it was. It was like Matt Moore at Hardwood Approaches, Matt HP Basketball. Shout out Matt. Me and him have been friends for a long time. I was like, man, this is kind of weird. And then the Clippers had a little bit of a run on them. Paul George was outstanding tonight. Let's get that out of the way. He
was basically the team tonight.
Yeah, he was unguardable. He was a man possessed. But the Blazers played a team game tonight, and I'm going to just throw this out there right away. It was the best game of the season so far. It's a young season, but that was their best effort. And this is where I'll stick to it. It is more important about the process than the results over an 82-game season when you're trying to do something different. And I thought I'll be honest, and it pissed some people off, and I don't care, that I thought they got lucky in some games, but the results went their way, and that's how it goes. But if you're talking about building something real, building something continuous, it's more about the process. And tonight, the process was the best it has been.
So I have a list of 7 things I didn't like about tonight's game. Let me start. How you doing, Brandon?
Love it. Listen, man, you give me those 7 things and I will eat it up 100%. Because as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna start running the tape back, and I'll.
I know. Look, there were little things, like little tiny things, but I don't expect a team to be perfect every night. I think to be perfect even in one game, you're gonna be hard pressed to find that. Great night. I couldn't agree more. This was the best performance, and I'll tell you what. There's a lot of moments. There's a lot of players I think we could talk about tonight, and I don't normally like to throw it around loosely. I'm going to tell you the dumbest thing you're going to hear, but it's a positive. I thought they won the game in the first quarter when they ended the quarter with the lead. I was like, the Clippers came out to a big lead, and it kind of had a vibe. They were hitting everything from 3. All they scored was threes. Yeah. They got to 18-9 all on threes. They could not hit a shot from the paint tonight, and that's also the story of the game. But I just kind of felt like, damn, they can't miss. Like, are they gonna get this to 20? And Portland chipped away, and they didn't allow the confidence to lack. And before you know it, man, like you look up and you go, oh my God, they've really cut into this thing. Zeller hits a couple buckets. He plays tough. He was physical. Mm-hmm. And the quarter ends, and you're like, they're winning. They won the quarter. Like, I couldn't believe they had won that quarter based on the first 6 minutes of that game. And I know they got pushed around a little bit later on, but the game ended, and I thought that first quarter, they didn't allow themselves to trail. They didn't get down on themselves, and they fought, and their bench guys came in and were good. And look at that. They won the first quarter. They never really looked back since. The Clippers pushed them, Paul George specifically, but I thought that effort and that fight in that first quarter, Danny, I thought kind of won them that game.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think that's stupid because number one, I'm not 100% like in the it decided the game. But what did we talk about in the pregame? This isn't a toot our own horns, but it was, please, for the love of God, come out with some kind of attitude. Yeah, please, God, please don't come out flat. And even though they weren't hitting shots, the attitude was there. The aggression, everything about the game. Even when the Clippers were hitting shots, you know what I didn't do? I didn't go,
I didn't either. I really didn't either. In fact, I kind of thought, okay, maybe they can fight. In that first quarter when they went 6 for 6, I thought they're not going to stay 100%. They're not going to
stay that hot. They're going to stay that hot, right?
They ain't going to stay that hot. So I stay optimistic. I think something I had brought back to my thoughts during the game that we had talked about pregame and a little bit on the Thursday show. It's not like there's a million teams in this conference that you should look at and go, oh boy, 12-point lead.
Well, you're worried about that.
Like if Steph's hitting, you're going, crap. Like Steph's in that zone.
That's terrifying.
Milwaukee, Brooklyn, but like in this conference specifically,
Utah in the regular season, I think, is the only team you really worry about.
Maybe Phoenix, you know, when Book has it going, when Bridges has it going, like when you get to that spot, okay, maybe 2 teams, maybe. That's why I didn't hang my head. I didn't think, well, bad start. It's like, okay, they can shake this off. They are still in this ball game, and thankfully tonight they proved me right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to go back and watch to see how they guarded PG and what they were really doing. But one of the things is holding the Clippers to 92 is great. It looks nice. When I go back and watch, Paul George was on a heater. I need to see how tight they were playing guys off ball.
Yeah.
Because watching live, my thought was they're doing a really good job on their rotations and getting out and being there early. Early in the game, they hit Bledsoe hit a 3 in the corner, and I thought the process was really good. Even though they accidentally sent 2 to the ball instead of getting that X out because it turned into a drive. I think it was Paul George on the drive, and it ended up being a kick out to Bled. But it was just a half second late on the rotation, but it was still a good contest. And I'm like, that's good. Yeah. That's good. You made a slight mistake committing a little too much to the ball, but CJ stepped up and took away. Actually, it was terrifying because CJ stepped up and took away the dive from Zubac, which I think every other time the rest of the night turned into 2 points or somebody getting run over. That was going either way, by the way. So guys got run over in the paint tonight endlessly. And again, back to the referee thing. Love the way the game's being called.
Good pace.
Yeah, just good pace. Zoo and Nurk were beating the ever-living hell out of each other. And nobody was calling anything, which is let the big guys wrestle. Let the 2 big Bosnia or freaking Balkan dudes wrestle. I'm 100% here for that.
Yeah, just because the bodies collide, man, that doesn't mean it's a foul. Those are
it's just massive human beings,
man. Yeah, they're giant.
Just because it looks violent doesn't mean it necessarily is. They're just 2 really, really big dudes, and it's just like, but when I looked at this game in live action, I thought they did a really good job of limiting the other guys. Well, with the exception of Kennard. Kennard got a little bit of a heater as well. But overall, man, I thought they did well defensively. It's the first game where I can go, no, that was a good defensive game.
Tonight was a good effort. Yeah. You know, did the Clippers have a few shots that they just flat out missed?
Yeah, they went back? Sure, yeah.
But you know what? Like 2 or 3 shots to me does not erase the full-on effort. And I'll tell you this. It was like a complete effort. Doesn't mean everybody was perfect.
No.
But I saw Dame give a damn. I saw CJ give a damn. Nas was a lightning rod. Like Ant contested on a couple shots from
We're going to talk about Ant's defense tonight, even though he didn't shoot the ball, because he did some stuff tonight that I really liked.
PG didn't shoot perfect here. He dropped, obviously, he got in the 40s, but there were a couple shots PG shot that I thought Ant did a good job of at least contesting and saying, all right, it's not going to be an easy shot.
Make him work.
It really, we can nitpick, I think, a couple players in this game, but I think overall, if we're talking defensively, I saw a top to bottom effort of guys who cared tonight. It wasn't like, ooh, Dame was awful. Like Dame was okay, and Dame gave a damn. And I think that's important to get that kind of leadership from guys like that.
Dame only just needs to care a little bit.
That's all it takes. Same with CJ, man. Yeah. CJ could be a decent defender, I feel like. He had some glimpses. He had a couple blocks.
Chase down blocks is still getting me every single time it happens. I'm like, you can't jump, but you're getting chase down blocks. I think it's his third chase down block of the season. I'm just there going, okay, this is a weird thing to watch for. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. If you haven't already, please subscribe here to the YouTube channel. We are growing. We are trying to get to 2,000. By the time we get to Thanksgiving, we are growing rapidly every single show. So thank you all so very much. If you haven't already, please like, rate, review, subscribe for the podcast. Jacked Ramsays available across wherever you get your podcasts. It has been a phenomenal first couple weeks for both the podcast and the show. So thank you guys for making that happen. I'm going to just say in general, obviously this was their best game of the season so far. I did the offense, while it didn't look pretty at times, I thought the process was good. And I think that was same was true for the defense. A little disjointed offensively, but I understood what they were trying to do. And even at times when it got a little wonky, they went back to the bread and butter and it worked really well. And the big part of that is, what's the big part of that, Brendan Sprague? What would you say is one of the most important parts of the Blazers offense? Would it be JUSUF NURKIC?
JUSUF NURKIC.
You didn't know if I was going with Dame or Nurk, I know.
Well, I was curious what you were going to finish with that sentence. I'm like,
I kept the title, GOLDI-NURKS.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite just in the right spot, but he wasn't one way or the other. I will say this. I'm going to nitpick first, and it's not going to be a compliment sandwich. I'm going to nitpick first. I'm going to do it, and then it's going to be all praise.
Come on, man.
The man has got to finish the first shot.
Yes, he does. I did you kind of were you feeling my pregame vibe of love Nurkic? You're like, rebound, block.
The first 4 possessions, I was like, oh God, Sprague, what did you do?
I put it in the universe. I made it exist.
Well, you put it in a bad universe for the first 5 minutes of that game.
That's rude.
He smoked 4 shots and turned it over twice in the first 9 possessions.
Okay, that's fair. But he also had some rebounds and like
he had 6 offensive rebounds. I'm going to go back and watch every single one of them. I think all 6 of his offensive rebounds were on his own shot.
I was going to say most of them came on. He had a couple bunnies and he kept
rimming. What the hell was that all about?
Stop copying me. Jinx, show me a code.
No, listen, man.
Front rimming, easy putback like layups or dunks. Like, look, I've told you my feelings on him. They're not going to change. I think we have propped him up to a level that's not reachable. And so I have adjusted this the last year and a half. I have. I've brought the bar down.
Okay.
I know he's going to turn the ball over. I know he's not going to be perfect. I like the effort the first 5 minutes, man. He was active on the glass. He was trying on defense. He was moving. Like, he missed bunnies. There's no doubt. But who was there to get the putback? It was him. And I'm glad he didn't let it discourage him. That was important to me.
That last part, not getting discouraged.
Yes.
I think Chauncey yanked him a little bit early tonight, twice, because he wasn't concentrating, because he wasn't finishing the way he should have. And Zeller came out, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Do we switch the roles?
Listen, I'm not kidding, probably 20-plus people text or DM me about that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Nurk's box score again, 14 points, 17 rebounds, 2 steals. Good night. 6 of 14, needs to clean that up. 6 of 8 last game. 12 of 22. Not bad. That's just a slight tick above his career average. He should have been 6 of 9 tonight.
Okay, we're nitpicking too much. This was a good win,
but
Danny,
when you're talking about being that guy,
but he's not that guy.
You're not that guy, buddy.
You're not that guy, bro. You're not that guy. Trust me, bro. You're not Nikola Jokic. Look.
Good game.
I'm
really
good
game.
I'm doing this. It was a good Nurk game.
Yep.
And let's compare it to the last Clipper game because, dear God, he was outplayed by both centers of the LA Clippers.
Yeah, I've seen Michael Serrano. Shout out our former technical director of the show, Michael Serrano. He says,
"I know Mike. Mike's a good dude, man.
Mike is a good dude.
Mike is a good dude.
We'll probably hop on some Call of Duty Warzone a little bit later tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. But he says front rim jobs from
thing, or what is that?
That's a video game thing. Sprague.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's a video game thing. But I think you can take the Nurk stuff tonight, and honestly, the other part of this is, can I find the right frame? There it is. Cody Zeller, say my name, and that's what's going to happen at Moda Center. He is going to get his name chanted at least once this season in Moda because he is a metronome of efficiency. He's just tick, 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 tick.
Yep.
Oh, you're in the right spot. Oh, you got the rebound. Oh, you ran the floor and got the chase down block. Oh, you ran the floor and got the finish on the other side. Oh, you're here. Oh, it's just, you look up and he's just everywhere he needs to be all the time.
Yeah.
It's just, what do you do with that?
First of all, are we sure he hasn't had his name chanted yet at the Moda Center?
Not yet. I haven't heard it.
We're sure. The Kings game? That was his coming out party.
Let's say I haven't heard it yet.
Okay. Well, look, I want to, if anybody was at the Kings game that's listening right now, let us know. Like, I'm curious if the 300 level was like, Zeller. Tonight, I will say this. Tonight, I really in my head was like, You
Do
probably
you want to start Zeller?
You probably lose JUSUF mentally if you make that move. But I'm okay if they end up trading him anyway, and CODY really clicks with what they want to do. Like, NURK's stat line was good. Again, I just gave him some praise. CODY's got a feel that his stats will not match NURKIC.
No.
And yet the impact on the game was far bigger for CODY than I thought it was for NURKIC.
What's wild about all this is, and this is why I hate single game plus minus, there is not a single person on this planet who watched that game tonight and was like, CODY Zeller didn't have a big impact. He was a -2. JUSUF NURKIC was a +22.
Oh, yeah. I've said this on the radio show, and we agree. Like, plus minus.
Do not look at those numbers.
Hey, I'll give a lot of credit. I think it was Hollinger that made that, right? The plus minus. Like,
yeah. It was just a simple.
It was it was a good stat for a long time. I think basketball has evolved so much since he created it that it doesn't necessarily represent it.
To be honest, you want to get rid of, and do a quick spiel for anybody out there wanting a quick dive for analytics.
Yeah.
Take PER, take plus minus, take pretty much any metric developed pre-2017, 2018. Yep. Even then, they're all devoid of context. They're event tracking, which is what we had up until we started getting more data and machine learning from 2012, 13, 14, now really 2017 on second spectrum stuff. Do not use that stuff as gospel. Like I said, the pregame, somebody was using team rating defensively to describe individual defensive rating. Don't do that. It just captures events. It doesn't do it. I have Thrandy down here is asking. I will continue doing this to shorten some things up. In the bottom or lower third, Brendan, I have 9.7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 stocks. So for those who don't know what stocks are, stocks is your combined rebounds, combined blocks and steals. And CODY ended up with 1 steal and 1 block tonight. So you'll every now and then you'll hear me say stocks. Brendan Dunbar says Joel Freeland's still alive. Sign him. Joel Freeland is still alive, and he is at a lot of Trailblazers games, and he's a rad dude.
Does he live here full time?
I think he's going back and forth.
Yeah, okay.
I think he's still doing scouting work for UK basketball.
Oh, good for him.
So yeah, Joel's a great dude.
Dude, I took a pee next to Joel Freeland. Good guy.
Did you say anything?
Yeah. I said, dude, you got a unit. And then he was like, why'd you look? That really didn't happen. Honestly, we stood next to each other.
I am 100% going to grab that soundbite. Just keep that for later. That's going to be a drop.
We just stood next to each other. We took a piss, and then we washed hands. I said, hey, Joel, you're fun to watch. And he said, thanks, Mike.
He will drop a very, very British mate or my. Yeah. And you're kind of like, wait, what was that?
Yeah. Shout out to Henry's. That used to be the spot.
Listen, that was
a spot, bro. Like
R.I.P. Henry's. Was that almost 20 years ago?
Man.
It's been a while.
Henry's was the spot, bro.
But again, 2-man tandem in the front court of NURK and Zeller. It was spectacular night.
Can I go off on somebody else too?
Yeah, who you got?
Loved Zeller. You felt Nance again. Yep. And I think that's important because maybe now he has developed or figured out kind of where he fits in with these different rotations. Nassir Little, his stat line will not pop off. 2 of 7 from the field. But I thought his threes were timely. And I loved the confidence in which he took those shots. He was okay missing the shots tonight. I thought he got fouled on the first dunk attempt.
He absolutely got.
George bodied on the side, and he was
Paul George grabbed his arm.
Yeah, and I thought you could have made an argument he got bodied again and didn't get a call. But the 3-pointer specifically, man, if that guy can develop in that area, I mean, 2 for 3 is great. Maybe make one more regular, 2-point jump shot or dunk or whatever. That's a great night. I thought Nas brought it tonight, and I loved seeing him be aggressive a little bit from the 3-point line. And it just was a confidence. You could see a guy who was like, I can make this. And you love to see that from a young player.
So I've had Nas live twice in the past year. And for anybody who doesn't know, we had Nas on the show last Wednesday. Go back, watch it. It's about 45 minutes. Nas is always great anytime you get an interview with him. The 2 things that I have talked to him about the most over the years are his shooting development and his kind of energetic, and this is something really corny, but energetic energy. Like it just oozes out of him. His confidence, like it just kind of pours out of him when he's on one. And that can still be a situation where no matter how he's playing, he can make an impact in that regard. And it's nice. It's just, they just don't have that up and down the roster. And overall, I love Nassir Little closing lineups at the end of quarters.
I do too.
He's had the conversion that he had, was that against Phoenix that he had the last second tip? I think is when he finished that one, and then he's had near last second tips in two other quarters. He's hit a three. I actually think he's hit 2 threes so far this season. His ability to be both a rim finisher, a big-bodied athlete, and knock down threes allows Portland to have some unique opportunities to close quarters, because you have to kind of worry about him on a back cut, but you also have to worry about him a little bit on a flare when you send 2 at Ant, when you send 2 at Dame, when you send 2 at CJ. Because if Nas is your backside guy in the corner, let's just say Nas is your wing guy, and if you got Norm sucked down in the corner, you're gonna probably go to Norm because he's a 44% career 3-point shooter from the corner.
Right.
So you're leaving Nas, who, in my opinion, I think can be a very consistent 37% 3-point shooter.
Which would be great.
And that's where I think all of the things you talked about as far as just him being that guy and being in the right places and getting that little bit of extra offense from him. I think tonight you saw what you can get out of him, and if he had knocked down a couple here or there,
right,
Portland may have been able to tilt this game and keep the Clippers from making a run.
I just think if you're looking at a box score and you're assessing percentage and all that stuff, the missed dunk was a foul. There's a field goal that's missed, and the bunny that it was a great pass, he just missed at the buzzer. Like, those are things that I think you can almost just excuse and say, totally understand why you had missed shots there. Everything else I thought was good. Like, I liked what I saw on defense from him yet again. What did he finish with rebound wise here? He finished with 7 rebounds, and it felt, or no, he finished with
Nas?
6 or 8.
Nas had 8 points, 8 boards with 2 offensive. So he was,
and great. Yeah. I wasn't keeping track, Danny. I didn't see the box score throughout the game. Just seeing it now, like, that's what it felt like.
It felt like, right?
It felt like it, and you like to see it follow up on the stat sheet. So, look, there's a lot of positives from tonight. The defense is probably a big one. It's going to be a big talking point, I'd imagine, because that was the emphasis for the team after last year. But I still keep these young guys in the way that they played. I know Ant didn't have it offensively, but what their impact is with a lot of these veterans, it's really important. If you want to have a different year than all of the hot take artists out there think you're going to have, if you want to quiet trade talk and all that stuff, like, keep playing like this, and you'll find yourself in a position where maybe in this wonky Western Conference, maybe Portland is one of those, like, fringe, hey, what about them to be in the final 2? Because right now, I don't know what top 4 teams you'd pick in the West, but I
think it's going to depend so much on health.
And that's my point, is I think that's what gives Portland their chance this year to maybe surprise a lot of people.
If they can stay healthy and show off a little bit of depth, they can be a team that can do some things. They can also go sideways. Hamad Al-Kawi says, Danny, you still think our defense sucks? Shout out collective pronouns. But beyond that, tonight they were good. I've also thought that they've had games where they've been a disaster piece. Tonight they're good. This is what this is going to do. And that's why I haven't said I'm going to commit one way to they're awesome or they're awful. That bar is going to change. But here's your improvement for me. 2 games in a row, Brandon, where they gave a damn for an extended period. Yeah. Memphis, the first half was very rough, and that was bad defense. Again, Memphis hit shots in that first half.
Also, Memphis is a really good team, so sometimes, they're going to get you like that.
Yeah, and this thing, if they're going to put pressure on you, they got opportunities, they didn't capitalize. That's the NBA. But, and this is where we talked about opening the show, process over results. Bad process in that first half, but they got good results. They get to that third quarter, they had good process followed by good results. And I thought they carried that over tonight and opened the game with good process. And even though the Clippers started hot and hit shots, the Blazers didn't duck their heads. They stuck to it, and they got good results because it was continued. That process matters more than anything. I wanted to get on to the next one, talk about Dame a little bit here, but everybody in the chat just keeps throwing it in there. I'm going to take full credit for just basically churning up the audience and getting the Ant love. Ant had a rough shooting night. I thought he had great looks. They just didn't fall.
It's off night for Ant tonight.
And that's okay. And I honestly, I have asked for a night like this for him for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. It's in there if anybody wants to go through my tweets. I have wanted him to have a rough night, but still be out there and contribute. Mm-hmm. This is the first night I think I've ever fully seen it from him, because even though his shot wasn't falling, he was still in the game. He was still good defensively. I saw him come out, I think it started the fourth quarter, Ant picking up full court, putting pressure on the ball.
Danny, I don't know if this is maybe a little too soon to say something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed by his defense, like staying in front of guys and contesting good shots and picking up people full court. I'm starting to raise the bar for him defensively.
Yes, I think he cleared that last year. I just don't think a ton of people really realized it because the team
I didn't realize
was so bad.
I honestly, sometimes I can get caught up with the team is collectively so awful. Sometimes paying attention, I almost kind of black out when they went on defense last year, but
Cantor and Melo go out and you just roll back in the back of your skull.
Oh man, it was like, let's just do this to the TV screen and keep it just when they're on offense.
I thought you were just going to go like this and cross yourself. Please God. Please God.
But I saw a guy that can maybe even elevate that and be a big factor in that regard. Like I almost contemplated, should I be raising the bar on him defensively? Again, I like the looks he got. He had a couple wide open looks. You're not going to be 100% right. Dame had a slow start to the year. This is going to happen to guys. He's still shooting those shots when he's getting them. I like that. And I thought he brought it defensively for them tonight.
Joey here says, Ant did get blown by a few times. It happens. Everybody gets blown by. Even the best defenders in the NBA get blown by. If the effort is there, the read is there, again, the process is there, that's what matters. And if Ant has something that over both Dame and CJ. He navigates screens better, and he's longer and significantly more athletic than either one of them.
Well, also, who blew by him? PG? Because PG was a force tonight.
PG, I think we consistently rate PG because he's so effing corny, lower than he is. He's maybe, outside of Magic Johnson, the best ball-handling big wing in NBA history.
Who's LeBron?
He's a better handle than LeBron, unbelievably. LeBron's just big as hell and has great ball control. PG will push you in a blender. How many times have you seen Braun break somebody down as opposed to just blow by them with power and strength? Think about it.
I don't disagree with that. Anyways, we're gonna get sidetracked with that conversation.
I'm just saying. I've had this conversation
for 20
before.
Minutes on that.
There's PG's.
He's got a smoother handle.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's had the ball in their hands more than LeBron James.
LeBron, there's no doubt, better player, all that stuff. But
it's just different. I think it's almost different.
But when you're talking about guys that big,
sure, he's bigger than people think too.
He's every bit of 6'8" plus. He is huge.
If you told me he was 6'10", I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, I've seen him and KD on the floor at the same time, and I was like, I thought.
Wait a minute.
He's a lot taller than I thought he was.
KD is 7 feet. No matter what he says, and they listen.
He drops his head and his shoulders. That man stands up, and you're like, yeah, he's 7 foot. But PG's right behind him. It was again. If Ant's getting broke down by PG on a heater, go with God. Go with God, man. That's. I mean, he's an absolute monster.
Yeah. He was third in MVP the year Dame eliminated the Thunder. He was third in MVP voting.
And had he not gotten knocks towards the end of that season, his shoulder, we had to sit out some games. He probably would have won it. But again, back to Ant. I thought he found ways to contribute. I thought that 2 to close the quarter close the shift was huge. It gave him a little something to build on. He had that 3, and then he had that 2, and you're like, there you go. You stuck to it. You didn't get rattled. And those are the building blocks I look for in young guys. Because once you get past that stuff, if you don't clear those hurdles, you're just a rotation guy. If Ant's already just a rotation guy. There's no doubt about that. Does he want to be a no-doubt contributor? And from what I've seen through these first 5 games, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So, again, thanks everybody for coming by. Seemingly every show, gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Thank you all so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe here. If you're watching on YouTube, just roll over, click the subscribe. And if you haven't followed already for the podcast, wherever you get podcasts, look up Jack Ramsays. Brad and I will have every post-game show will be dropped into the feed. The live weekly show will be in the feed. The Sunday into Monday mailbag. And anytime we have any major news or guests, those will also drop down in there. So it's a near daily podcast at this point. We've got a whole discussion going on about big-bodied wings in the chat with T-Mac and Penny. I'm telling you guys right now.
Hey, that's
love those guys. PG's bigger than all of them.
Well, yeah, but like that's not. You said he's the best big-bodied wing since out Magic. Yeah. I think it's like Penny, man. Penny was. I
almost put Penny less.
Wow.
He was skinny.
Boy, sometimes you have some.
Listen, it's spicy.
Bad takes.
No,
sometimes
they're spicy.
You got bad takes. Yeah.
You know they are, Sprague? They're spicy.
What are they? Hey, let me say this. I think it's an interesting thing to think about because his handle is sick. I won't refute that. If you pick like 2 or 3 other guys over him, I wouldn't be mad at.
I would.
I know, because you take everything personal. I mean, it's crazy. It's insane.
You know who else takes things personal? Damian Lillard.
Oh, hey!
Look at that transition. Look, is he getting warmer? 9 of 17 tonight, 5 of 7 from 3, 25 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Still looks like he's.
Come on, stop it.
Fighting the shot a little bit, but
stop
I'm
it.
kidding.
He just missed.
Yeah, no, he looked really good tonight.
He did.
The offense at times looked clunky when he was trying to do things, and then when they just said, "Hey, remember that whole pick and roll thing you're really good at? Go do that some." And it was when the Clippers made that run in the third, I was like, "Oh crap!" Chauncey got pissed, called a timeout, threw something down on the ground, looked like he threw his pen. I was like, "Ooh, Chauncey getting pissed. I like this. Let's see where this goes." Mm-hmm. You know where it went, Sprague? It went Damian Lillard pick and roll.
Yep. Hey, who did you think he was better in the pick and roll tonight with, Zeller or Nurk?
Oof. Off the three, Nurk. On the roll, Zeller. I think Zeller, number one, Zeller's got better hands than Nurk. Well, Zeller, Nance. I could name most guys on the roster that have better hands than Nurk on the run.
Hey, is it a downer to have a thought during a game for maybe 2 minutes about guys you move and
about texts that were sent? Here's the thing. Dame looked really good tonight. I want to see it in another game. I want to see him continue to build on it, put it all together. But
you don't think he can do it again?
No. I'm saying as far as the other stuff, as far as not just in the pick and roll. If Chauncey's going to keep, if Chauncey's going to concede anything, it's going to be this. It's going to be the pick and roll.
I think he already has.
I was just going to say, do you think – because I think you've basically had 6 quarters of basketball where the offense is like, that looks a lot better.
Boy, it flows way better when they do that thing, isn't it?
Hey, you know the best point per possession pick and roll combo in the NBA over the last 3 years? They should go back to that some more.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Although Chauncey did say he would improve the offense from where they were. Maybe he'll figure that out.
Listen, I think the flow offense is better, the equal opportunity, when anybody not named Dame is on the floor. But if Damian Lillard's on the floor, your first 3 options should be pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. I don't even care who it's with.
Yeah.
He is the best pick and roll guard maybe in NBA history as a scorer. I guess Stockton, Malone is the best pick and roll tandem of all time, and that's Stockton just being a passing savant. But as a scoring guard, if you look at the efficiency over Damian Lillard's career, he has been in the top 4, I think, every single year of his career in points per possession in the pick and roll. And he's a monster. He's an absolute monster as a scorer. If you go under, he shoots. If you trail, he gets downhill. And it's very binary. He is a computer with that stuff. Just go with it. Go with it. You want to put that equal opportunity offense in? Put it in with anybody else.
Yeah.
Does that vibe for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything you're saying, I literally don't have a response because I'm just like, yep, 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 yep.
Is that because you don't have a response because we just want me to shut the hell up?
No, yes? No. I think every point you just made, we talked about this in the pregame. We've talked about this a couple of times now. Like, he can say what he wants publicly. We know that this is going to lean towards Dame getting back into the pick and roll offense that he knows so well and he operates in so well. I'll say this on Dame too. He did start out cold. Like you did go,
not again.
He's still struggling. Yeah. I thought what it was important was not only him kind of finding the shot. The Clippers pushed this. The Clippers came back and made this a ball game. And I thought he did a good job really kind of icing it and putting it away tonight for them. Like he did exactly what you want your franchise guy to do. Maybe even if he struggles, still be the go-to guy at the end and put this thing away. CJ got off to a good start. And then he kind of trailed off a little bit. Norm was great from three-point land tonight, but Dame capped this game off for them. And I think that matters. You know, that kind of, I'm Damian mother bleeping Lillard. Let me bury this team. And he did.
Damian Lamont Ollie Lillard Sr. does things. Sith Fong says Dame is flowchart on the pick and roll. And I love that.
Yeah.
If this, then just... And that's how good he is. He's a computer on that stuff. And I understand the predictability stuff, but when the rate of return over 82 games is basically, this is worth about a point and a quarter every single time you run this.
Yep.
That is why I talk about that as an offense unto itself, because it just doesn't matter what you do if you put him in a pick and roll, because even if you've got a non-shooter, Nurk's not a shooter. You're not worried about him popping out or flaring. You're worried about diving or catching him playing 4-on-3.
Right.
And even with that, you're still covering Dame like you would with any other, type of big. It doesn't matter. A pick and pop big, you still don't care. A dive big, you don't care, because you're just saying, please, for the love of God, get the ball out of Damian Lillard's hand. And what that does for the rest of the offense opens everything else up.
Yeah.
So, what is your grand scheme? Love it, like it, leave it. Bow tied on the game tonight.
Man. My leave, I'll do a pretty simple leave it. There's really not a lot of leave it.
You and I are on the same board on the turnovers.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, the turnover. Oh, you want the pregame?
Yeah, for pre to post. Where did you land on this stuff?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, the turnover thing where Simpatico turns out when you don't turn the ball over 30 times and you cut that more than in half.
Yeah, it was 14, right? Yeah, 14 was official.
It also helps to shoot 46% from three, which is great.
The best potpourri there is.
Absolutely. My like it was what was my like it? Oh, active hands, defense. I thought they did it again. Like, I thought tonight defensively they responded from what they did in the second half, specifically the third quarter against Memphis. And I thought they had applied that. Look, tough, like a 2-minute slow start. After that, I thought they locked it in. They rotated really well. I liked what I saw defensively from them. I thought it was a really good team effort. And my love it ended up with a good stat line.
It was a rocky start.
He missed a lot of bunnies, which, if he hits those, I think we feel so much different about it. Monster night. I mean, you're talking about 24 and 17.
Yeah.
But I thought his backup played a little better with the flow of what they were doing. So he still had a good game, so that's good, but didn't quite hit the love it.
I think he got pretty damn close. For me, obviously, the leave it was the turnovers. You and I are both, like you said, simpatico on that one. My like it tonight was Robert Covington, and we spent this entire time so far, and we haven't said a single word about him, good, bad, or otherwise, and he went out there and knocked down 3 of 6 threes. He played good defensively. He didn't look like he was questioning what he was doing. I thought this was by far the best role player game of the season so far, and ironically enough, Ant had a low scoring output, but still every single non-three-headed monster of Dame, CJ, and Nurk was impactful in this game.
I really like seeing the different rotations. Like I like watching the young guys play with both Dame and CJ. Like Chauncey doesn't say, well, Ant works really well with
He's cycling through to see kind of what works, right?
But you know what? There's something about cycling through where how do you need to commit to anything? Because sometimes them cycling it through,
you might catch a little something.
You might catch a spark. Like there's different variations, and there's been a little good and a little bad, no doubt. But I kind of like that he cycles it through. I think that's important. And let me say this about the defense, because I don't want to forget this thought. I'm with you 100% on the role guys. Good night for them. I liked what I saw. Mr. Handsome and the Little Nance Ants, they performed really well tonight. Yep. To me, the key is this. Dame and CJ lock in and they choose to give a damn. I feel like it's almost infectious with the rest of the team. I expect
the rest of the guys are going to do it, man. That's the thing.
Exactly. I think they're out there. They know they have to pick up slack. I think when Dame and CJ participate and give a damn, it kind of lifts the team in a certain regard. And I liked I like seeing that tonight.
Yeah, and in that same vein tonight, my love it was coming out with the right level of intensity and to start the game. And they did. And that's for all of the people who got mad when I said that they came out flat against Memphis and it was, Memphis missing shots. Again, I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to hit this all season long until it drives home and Portland is consistent in this vein, or at least mostly consistent. I don't get why people got mad at that opinion. Because they think that it takes away from the Blazers winning a game.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's part of it. It's about process over results. Process. If they had been down 7 in the first quarter, you know what I would have tweeted out? Hey, listen, sometimes teams hit shots on you, but so far I like what they've done on both ends. But they figured it out. They got some things going. Zeller came in. Nas came in. The energy got going. They went on like a 17-3 run, and they kind of righted the ship. But I think that's the big thing here. If the attitude is right, if the commitment is right, if you stick to it long enough, then eventually it will catch up to you. Over 82 games, you will have cold spells. Guys won't shoot. But if you don't give a damn, you don't give yourself the opportunity to be in it when that moment arises. And I thought last year they had, I hate to do it, but I thought Melo was a wet blanket on that stuff. It killed me. If he was cooking offensively, you could feed off of it. But it was the only thing that he did that you got anything out of. And as Cantor, I thought he tried to be the other guy, but he just wasn't good enough to do it. And then you had other guys up and down the roster who were, playing out of position or not ready for that moment. I think this team is ready for that moment.
This is a sidebar here. We don't need to dive into this comment. That's what makes the whole, it's not the roster statement. I mean, just that much more idiotic. I mean, it is. There is no way that if you gave that dude true serum, you'd say, hey, still believe that? And he's going to say 100%. No way. There is no chance. Like you went and got guys who give a damn defensively, which, they're little moves, but I commend it nonetheless for going and making it happen. And the young guys now have an opportunity to play and not be stuck behind old veterans that you're reviving careers for. You get shots, you get opportunity, and oh, look at that. Guys are working hard. So, I'll give the GM credit for there's 4 new pieces to this equation almost. Like Anna's a different player, Nas is new, and now you got Nance and Zeller. So kudos there, but that just makes that statement that much more dumb, in my opinion, when you look back on it.
There's a couple things here that I want to get to. I want to touch on Charlotte real quick before we get out of here. Isaiah says, I like that when Chauncey doesn't have a super predictable rotation. He always knew what was coming when Stotts and when it was coming.
That's my point. I'm with Isaiah on that.
Here's the thing. Almost all coaches are predictable because they want their players to know when they're going in. If we're at game 45 and Chauncey is still being very unpredictable with rotations, I'm not sure how well it's going to work out for him. Because these guys, these guys are creatures of habit.
They're machines, yeah.
You want to spice things up every now and then because you're feeling something? Cool. Listen, that was one of my criticisms of Terry was he was so regimented in that stuff. I've wanted the young guys to play for 3 years. Mm-hmm. But the big thing is you've got to – I like the early season experimentation. See what you got. See what units are clicking. That way when you go back to it later, it's not completely and totally unfamiliar. But you gotta tone it down or hone it in just a little bit.
I won't push back on that. I do think it's working for them right now, though, while he's figuring that out.
Yes, and that's a benefit. That's a bonus. When you're experimenting and things work, it's a good thing. When you experiment and it goes sideways really quickly, you're like, ah, shit, I don't want to go back to that. I think we saw a couple of those lineups last season. Was like, get that freaking lineup off the floor, and if you ever do it again, I am going to slash your tires. There was a couple of those lineups. If you go look at cleaning
that's a bit much. It's sports.
Is it though?
Yes, it's sports. You're slashing people's tires because of their rotation.
Listen, somebody may or may not have had their car flipped over and upside down in Chinatown when they double parked behind me when I was 24 years old. So,
what is wrong with you?
How much time you got?
Not much. I'm getting tired. I've been up since 4 a.m. and you're out here like, hey, let me tell you about the time I murdered a man. Like, what?
Okay. I'll package that one up and we'll go real quick. The Blazers are going on their first real road trip. None of this like, West Coast 45-minute flights. As wild as this is, when I first looked at the schedule, I was like, Charlotte? Cleveland? Now
you did?
Yes.
I'm shocked by that.
I think
you
both those teams
probably watch more basketball than me, and I was like, no.
Here's the thing. I looked at both those games as those are wild cards, but I did not fear them. Now, in the sense of could they step on a landmine there? Absolutely.
Man. That makes me even more surprised. You're Mr. USC. Like, I loved Evan Mobley coming out.
I did not know how well he was going to integrate playing alongside Jared Allen. That was my only question. It was like, are they going to let... I have talked to about 10 different national writers in the past 24 hours about Mobley, and they're like, just send him the award. Pack it up. He's...
it's over. If he stays healthy, it's over.
Tony Jones, who covers the Jazz for The Athletic, fantastic writer if you guys want to cover the Jazz, he just basically called him Kevin Garnett with better passing about 20 minutes ago. I mean... He is an absolute monster.
That's a hot take, by the way.
Listen, talent-wise,
might be right, but
talent-wise, this kid, and you've heard me talk about him off air.
I know
he's special. And as much as I hate to admit it, LaMelo Ball is special. He is one of.
I hate to admit that.
Like I hate his dad with an absolute burning passion.
That's not LaMelo.
No. And that's the thing is, I hate credit being given to his dad when it's the kids. Man, give the kids their props. No. Okay. Oh,
well, no. I mean, look, I just wanted this to be on the record. I was not a fan of the way LeVar Ball handled all of it. Like,
gross.
It was all me.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: he got two guys, maybe three.
Don't you do that third one? Don't you do that third one?
I'm just saying he might make it though. He might be Blevins somewhere. You know what
I
mean?
This is true.
He might be landing in Charlotte.
God, LaMelo might be good enough to do that in a couple of years.
Oh, I'd let him do it right now. Like, that's how
it is. Charlotte. He does run Charlotte.
LaMelo Ball just told Jay-Z to his face that he was staying in Charlotte. He is not interested in Jay-Z's interest in coming to New York. Like, that takes stones. Look, say what you want about LeVar and the character, the business, dear God.
Yeah. Oof.
The dude did a good job of
getting his kids
to the right stages. There's something to commend for that as a parent. Like, that dude gave a damn about his three sons.
Oh, for sure.
And he gassed him up. Like, I would never gas my kid up like that in front of everybody because I don't want to be.
I'm not going to tell the world that my kid is better than Magic Johnson on day one.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to set a bar like so high. My kid's like, why did you do that?
Tamper that one down.
But he's riding for his kids. I can't fault the guy.
No, not in that regard. And LaMelo is every bit. What they've got in that franchise. I still don't really know what they're doing, but I do know one thing beyond that. I love Miles Bridges, and I hope he dunks on somebody on Portland and doesn't kill them, because I want the joy of Miles Bridges detonating, but not ending the life of a Trailblazer.
Who do you think is going to end up with a better career, LaMelo or Anthony Edwards?
Melo's passing and shooting,
it's special.
It ages better. Even though Edwards is by far the more explosive.
God, he's a dog.
But he's fun. I love what he said about Giannis the other night.
Yes.
He's that dude. But this road trip, man, it's So you've got first in Charlotte, Minnesota, then Cleveland?
I'll take your word for it, but your word's been pretty awful.
My word has been sideways on
you don't know this. You haven't known this schedule the entire season.
Which, like I said, the more I cover this team,
okay, I got it right here.
The more I don't know the schedule.
So you've got the Hornets coming up on Sunday. You're at Philadelphia.
Philly, that's what it is.
Cleveland. And then you come home for Pacers, Lakers, and then you play the Clippers again.
God, I'm tired of the Clippers already.
But how about this road trip?
How about
Clippers, Suns, Houston, Denver. How about that 4-gamer?
Oof. Houston one should be fun just because they should be able to walk through that. But
Danny, let me throw these games at you real quick.
Yeah, let's play schedule game. I love schedule game.
I'm gonna go till November 14th for you.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte, Philly, Cleveland. Those are 3 road games. Home for Indiana, LA, Lakers. Then you go on the road to the Clippers, Phoenix, Houston, Denver. 9 games. What would you say their record is after those 9 games?
They'll be 5-4 in that trip.
You think they're going to win 5 of those 9? I love that.
So
I love that.
Houston should be a gimme. They're one of the 3 worst teams in the league.
Houston's a win.
Indiana, I like the idea of them. In practice, they have been like Portland, so I haven't got a real read. Philly, I do not believe in. I do not trust. They are broken and disjointed. As good as Joel is, they do not have anybody who sets that table.
So there's 3
of the 3-game road trip. Philly is the game I'm most confident in them winning
over Houston.
No,
the 3-game. I'm sorry.
Because they don't have anything at the point of attack.
Interesting.
They don't have shot creation. And what kills Portland? Shot creation, especially at the point of attack. They don't have any of it. If Seth Curry is initiating their offense, cool. I don't care. Yeah. So I actually worry about that Cavs game because defensively, they are going to lock things down. As weird as that is to say, they have been fantastic. It helps when you have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen who can both contest at the rim and out to the 3-point line in the same
I'm
possession.
betting the under in that game.
Yeah, no, that's a safe one. And something stupid like Lowry marketing getting hot will happen.
And you think they beat the Lakers, right? They're too old.
I do not. I am not buying them until, especially if Braun's still kind of. I know he was out there earlier, but I don't buy him. I don't buy that he's ready to go. Right? Yeah. Right. I don't think they care right now. So 5-4. But again, if you can win coin toss games and protect home court in any season, you're usually going to end up around like 45, 46 wins. And I took 47 on the season, so that's going to be the bar that I'm going to sit at. Where do you land? Those 9.
I feel like 4 and 5, but I'm probably giving a couple teams some more respect.
But you're also you're coin tossing. You're doing the same thing I am. I'm maybe feeling a little bit spicy because they played their first complete game of the season.
It was a really good win.
Yeah.
I love it, but Houston's a win.
Houston is the no doubt talent-wise.
They have more coin flips in that 9 games than I think they have more coin flips in that 9 than you do.
My gut is telling me to not believe in LA and to not believe in Philly right now, that they are very disjointed.
I don't disagree with you on the Lakers, but it's one of those, like, if AD's cooking, if LeBron's cooking, you kind of get effed in that regard.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that switch could easily flip.
And if Joel gets Nurk in foul trouble, he is going to feast because Cody just doesn't have the size for Embiid.
You can at least be okay with single coverage. And I think that's the big thing about the 76ers right now is that without Ben to break your defense, you don't necessarily have to worry about them as much.
It's going to be a good test for him.
The Charlotte one's the wild card because they basically have like 7 dudes that are 6'7" or 6'8" that can dribble, pass, and shoot. And that's going to be hell on this. That's going to be...
But they're also young. You could see them just
falling apart.
Screwing some stuff up.
I look at that game, and that's the one of those 3 games that scares me the most because you've got multiple guys that are at size with athleticism, things that bother Portland more than anything, that can dribble, pass, and shoot. So we'll get out of here on this because we went really long because I think this is a really good game. There's a ton to talk about. We got 50 minutes in, Brandon, and we didn't say a damn word about Norman Powell.
I was happy to see him play.
The knee looked good when he absolutely sent Zubac's shot.
You're an idiot, and it was nice to have him back from 3.
I'll take it. That's fine. thank you, everybody. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Do all of the things. If you're following here on YouTube and you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Like I said, we're trying to get to 2,000 before we get to Thanksgiving. And on our current pace, we are heading right there. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, wherever podcasts are available, it's Jacked Ramsays. If you're feeling really, really good about yourself, leave us a review. We haven't had any in a little while. We got a bunch of you, and thank you to all of you. If you're feeling so inclined, leave us a review. Hate us? Let us know. Love us? Let us know. Figure it out. I'm Danny Marang. This is Brandon Sprague. On social, at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague, at Jack Ramsays. We will be back Sunday. It is an early game. Shout out early games, Brandon Sprague. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. So
Big
it's
fan.
a 4 tips, so we'll go probably at 2:30. We'll figure it out. I'll put it out on social for you guys. But
are we gonna figure out the
mailbag pod?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might do just a longer pregame, guys, and we'll kind of combine the two, or we'll push one off. Either way, we'll figure something out. We'll let you know. As always, you guys can send your mailbag questions in to me at Danny Marang. You can email them to us, jackedramsays@gmail.com, at jackedramsays on Twitter. You can send them to Brandon and then remind him, hey, send these to Danny to get him in the show. Until then, guys, take care, and we'll catch y'all later. Bye.